So far, I've told you about the amygdala, that we have this very sensitive, reactive, non-discriminate and brain hijacking amygdala acting as our alarm system to help us to deal with any danger it's detected. What I'd like to do next is explain how normal memories and trauma memories differ, and then pull everything together to explain what's happening in the brain when there's PTSD. Would that be okay?
Yes, okay.
So next to our amygdala, this red part here is our hippocampus. This part of our brain is responsible for storing things that have happened to us in an organised way. So it tags our memories in certain ways, such as in time, place, and location. There are several key features of normal memories. Firstly, they're under our control, so it's easy to recall a particular memory and then stop. It's a bit like pulling a file out of a drawer, reading it and putting it back again. A good example for me might be Christmas Day this year, but can you think of a memory like this?
Yes, I think last year's summer holiday is like this. I can think about it and then stop. It's not like my trauma memory at all.
The next thing to know is that normal memories are not overwhelming when we think about them. Even if they have a strong emotion attached to them, they're not too strong for us to cope with. Can you think of a memory like that?
Yes, like when I lost the best job in the world, the company went bust. It was 10 years ago now, and it's still sad, but it doesn't feel that bad now.
Yes, that's a really good example. And what's happened to that emotion over time?
It's faded a little. I'm not as upset as I was then. I've moved on.
So you've just noticed another important point there, that emotions related to normal memories tend to fade over time. Talking of time, there is a sense of time with our memories too. So memories in the distant past will feel like the distant past, and more recent memories will feel more recent.
I get that. Things that happened yesterday feel like yesterday.
And normal memories will have a start, a middle, and an end, a sense of order of the events as they happened. But not all memories will have this though, because we can't remember everything. But a good example of this might be on your wedding day.
Yes, I remember the main parts of the day and I can remember the order in which it happened.
So my next point is that the brain collects both sensory and emotional information. The hippocampus collects sensory information, but the amygdala is particularly good at tagging memories that have some sort of emotion attached to it. So we're more likely to remember happy or sad events rather than mundane ones. Can you remember something that made you laugh?
Yeah, before the incident, I saw this really funny clip on social media. It was this donkey falling over a fence. It had me in stitches.
And can you remember something more mundane, such as what you ate for lunch last Tuesday?
No, I can't.
Okay, so that shows us how the mundane things that happen to us don't tend to get remembered well, but something that was very funny is remembered well. So the last thing I want to tell you about normal memories is that we have the ability with normal memories to change and update them. So I'm going to use an example of someone called Kate to help me explain more. Kate is a shopkeeper, and on one particular day, Kate is in her shop and a woman walks out of the shop carrying several unpaid for items. She can't chase after her because she has other customers, but Kate is really angry and she thinks to herself how unfair it is that some people have no respect and think that they can take what they want. She calls the police and she gives them some CCTV footage of this person, and the police take her statement. She says to the police that she wants them prosecuted, and she doesn't hear anything for a few days. But after a few days, a man visits the shop. He approaches Kate and he says that he is the shoplifter's son and that the police have been in touch with him. He explains that his mum is in the early stages of dementia and forgets to pay sometimes. He explains that this is a really tough time for him and his family, and they're doing their best to let mum keep her independence for as long as possible. He apologises profusely and gives her the money to settle the bill. So on hearing this story, Kate's anger immediately dissipates and is replaced by feelings of empathy. She calls the police to let them know she doesn't want to press charges. So Kate has changed the way she has felt about the incident when she received new information. And this is something that doesn't happen with trauma memories. So just to summarise, normal memories are under our control. They're not overwhelming. The emotion that is attached to them fade over time. Normal memories have a start, a middle, and an end. We're more likely to store memories with emotions attached to them, and we can change how we feel about a memory if we have new information about it. So how does your normal memories compare with your trauma memory?
It's quite the opposite. It pops up in my mind without me wanting to think about it, and I still feel quite overwhelmed by it, even though it happened 6 months ago.
So, trauma memories are very different to normal memories. When the amygdala is triggered during a traumatic event, the hippocampus and much of the thinking part of the brain doesn't work very well. Remember, the hippocampus is responsible for tagging and filing away memories. It's unable to process memory in the usual way, and therefore the memory doesn't get filed away and tagged. Unlike normal memories, where the memory is stored away in a way that you can access it under your own control, trauma memories can pop up in your mind without you meaning to, just as you describe. And the memories, as they have not been tagged by the hippocampus, they feel jumbled up and messy.
It does. I can't get the memories straight in my head.
And trauma memories can feel very overwhelming as they're charged with lots of strong emotions and sensory information. They feel very different, and a lot of clients will describe feeling like the memory being much more recent than it occurred, and even describe it feeling like it's happening now when they have an intrusive memory or a flashback.
Yes, it feels like it could have happened yesterday, even though I know it didn't.
So, what you end up with is this unprocessed memory. It feels uncontrollable, jumbled, untagged, and overwhelming with this sense of nowness. As the memory is unprocessed, as far as the amygdala is concerned, it feels like a current problem, and it remains extra sensitive and vigilant to anything that might look like, sound like, feel like, or even smell like the trauma. And if you recall from before, the amygdala doesn't just respond to real threats, it will also respond to imagined threats.
Yes, so are you saying that because my memory is not processed, my amygdala thinks it's happening now?
That's right, and every time the memory pops up, the amygdala is triggered and the brain thinks the trauma is happening all over again. And whilst the amygdala is firing, the hippocampus can't do its job of processing the memory.
Okay, well, that's what it feels like. I can't move on from it, and it's always there on my mind.
So the goal of the therapy is to help you to process the memory in a way that feels safe enough that the amygdala doesn't get overly triggered.
And will the trauma memories go away?
No, you will always remember this trauma, but I will be helping you to make them into normal memories so that they are controllable, not overwhelming, time tagged, and updated with new information that helps you think about the trauma differently.